This is the Political Spotlight.
The Political Spotlight is a joke. It's more like a political flop.
Nobody listens to Bilbrey.
He's just a wannabe podcaster. No one takes him seriously.
He is a rude, crude dude that will never go any further than broadcasting from his mother's basement.
Bilbrey is a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians.
Grab another box of Twinkies and generic cola, Bilbrey.
And get back to your microphone and your audience of nobodies.
The Political Spotlight is a joke.
He is like a rude, crude dude that will never go
Bilbrey's a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians. Shut that stupid Bilbrey up.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening. It is Thursday, August 13th, 2026. If you're at where I am in the world and you're watching me at this moment live, we are broadcasting from Mud Creek, which is way, way, way outside of its banks currently still. Mud Creek Studios here in East Central Indiana. This is being broadcast to you live currently. If you're here live, thank you. Welcome. We are glad to have you, and we welcome you here always. If you're watching this via replay, welcome, welcome, welcome. We'd like to have you as well. We are thankful that you're here, whether it be on YouTube or Rumble or Twitch, or no, we're not on Twitch, TikTok or Facebook. That being said, please, please, please consider going to YouTube. That way you can hit the like button and give us your like and subscribe and do all of that stuff. Communicating with us is easy if you're on YouTube, and you can always see the more people watching. So we are not buffering. Get out of here. That's the big question, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know, have you ever seen the rain? I also have a message. If it keeps on raining, levee's going to break. But yeah, so that's where we are, and that's my musical puns for right now. Kate wanted to know who will stop the rain, and so yeah, now we're officially done. I've not noticed any purple rain. I'm trying to think. And while we have a lot of water, and it's we've got a lot of water, I have not noticed that it's raining men.
No, but the rain came down in rushing, rising rivulets, and the river did creep out of his bed.
that is absolutely true. Okay, so I am currently in information taking zone. So contrary to what we've been saying for the last several days, it's Thursday and Brandon is not going to be here tonight. That's not any fault of his own or really a fault of mine. It's mostly due to the weather situation. Brandon actually has new internet coming to his locale tomorrow. So we are once again going to push our Brandon Clower episode to a week from today. I know it's like the third week in a row I've said that. We are going to get to the JD episode. It's very important, and we will get there. It's very important that we do so. Because JD is planning some big moves. I'm telling you, something is going on. But unfortunately, it's not like an interview. It's not an interview more than it is like a co-host coming home type of a thing. But the weather, the wild, wacky weather has preempted the JD coverage. And I feel like we have to probably talk about what's going on because this is a once in a generation situation up here. And I've been saying that all day. I love it. Once in a generation situation. So I feel like we have to cover that. But there's also some very serious governmental and political goings on because of this weather. So I feel like we need to cover that before we get started. Before we get started in any of that, I feel I probably need to talk about the extremely sad and heartbreaking situation that has occurred as a result of this weather situation. And that is very sadly, yesterday when all of this was going on, unfortunately, boys will be boys and kids will be kids, and men and boys and kids sometimes do things that are not the very best thought out. And very sadly, unfortunately, there were 4 young men, all high school age, yesterday, that decided that they were going to attempt to have a little bit of fun, and they jumped off of a bridge into the water. And thank God, 3 of them made it out, but one of them unfortunately was swept away. And they looked and looked and looked and looked for him. And unfortunately, just because of the situation and because of the water and the weather and everything last night, they had to suspend the searching for him last night, which they did. And they then continued this morning. And unfortunately, I think it's been reported now that they did find him. I'm looking here. I want to be very careful. I saw it pop up on my screen. I don't want to say anything that's wrong here. And we're going to put this up here on the screen, let you guys see this here real quick. This is a candlelight prayer vigil for Matthew Morey, Friday, August 14th at 8 p.m. Joined together as a community to pray. Just a very, very horrible situation. Very sad. Obviously, there was no ill intent, and no one was, nobody thought anything of it. You know what I mean? They just thought they were going to have some fun. And it tragically cost this young man what it looks like is cost him his life. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to look and get updated information here just to be sure. I will not be. Well, so I'll just say this. I know I don't personally know this kid, and I don't personally know his family. I know some people close to the family. Okay, no, it has not been announced that he's been found. It has not been announced. So I want to clarify my statement. Nothing has proven that he is deceased at this point. And of course, our hope and our prayers are that, maybe he made it to a tree or somewhere and they just haven't heard him yet. but there has not been any confirmation that anything's found. So our hope and our prayers are that he can be found. I mean, I think that it's look at this. Look at this. This is McCullough Park. So for everybody that is watching this, that's from Muncie, this is the old this Gamebridge field now. It's nonsensical, but this is McCullough Park. Here over in the distance is the Masonic Temple. And so look at this. Look at this White River. I mean, listen, folks, we are seeing flooding. Are you guys having a hard time hearing me? Are we buffering, or is it just Karen? I'm hoping it's just Karen. I don't want it to be Karen, but I don't want it to be us more. Kate's saying she can hear us. Can other people let us know? Yeah, I mean, listen, dear God, if you are out there, do not cross. The water's starting to go down. The water is starting to fall in some places. I'll be honest. I left my grandparents earlier, and on South Walnut, Walnut and Fuson was shut down earlier, but it went down. There are 2 cars that are still stranded just in the middle of the road in the water, south of the South Roundabout at the Madison Walnut split. And I looked and I could see the roadway, and I started to go. And I went, and what I did is an old trick. I opened my door and I could see the water, and I got to about the middle of the water, and I noticed the water was coming up closer. So I shut my door and I reversed it, and I thought, no, I am not doing it. And I went backwards. And that was extremely stupid of me. Do not do that. If you see water on the roadway, turn around, go around. Do not drive into oncoming water. Do not drive into water that you see crossing the road. It's just not worth it. It's not worth your car. It's not worth your life. They're calling this a generational flood. This is they're saying that the worst flood in Muncie history was from 1913, and they're saying that this flood is worse than the 1913 flood. So they're saying that this flood is by far this is by far the worst that Muncie, Delaware County, Henry County, Newcastle, the southern portions of Randolph County have seen in over 113 years. I mean, it's just absolutely wild that this is going on. We have some very serious news that we're going to get to. Before we get there, I do just want to quickly say one last thing, that there is this prayer vigil tomorrow, Friday, August 14th at 8 p.m. at Union Chapel, the old 180 church up on North Broadway, 4622 North Broadway. You don't have to be there to say a prayer, to put out good vibes, to do your thing. Please pray for this young man. Pray for his friends. I know one of his really good friends. I know parents of the kid, and I mean, this is just absolutely heartbreaking for his family, for him, for them all, and so just absolutely horrible. And you know, it's just young kids. I mean, I'm not going to play the video. I won't play the video, but a source actually, they recorded the moment that they jumped into the water, and a source sent that to me. And I mean, there was just, it's heartbreaking to see that. So very, very sad. Our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family, and whatever rescuers are doing, and whatever the plan is there. So he is still not declared dead. To my knowledge, he has not been found. It's not a recovery. They have suspended the rescue effort for this evening, which is not a good thing. It's not a good sign, but it is what it is. So that's that. I do want to show you guys a couple things just as I was driving around yesterday and driving around in the area just for the last, today, yesterday, before we get into the heaviness of the politics and everything. This is a once in a lifetime deal, here's some flood water. This is just off of East Jackson. This is back in one of the neighborhoods. We're looking towards Muncie, looking that way. There's that. Here's just flood water. These are just random pictures. This shows this picture shows the mailbox at the corner of Walnut and Fuson. I'm actually on Fuson, and between the telephone poles is Walnut, and there you can see how high the water is there. Just totally insane. So much damage to so many houses. This house right here, this is one of my favorite houses in Delaware County. It's not there. It must have maybe got knocked down because of the water. These people had a sign that was outside their door, and it says, "Oh, hello." It says, "Oh, hello," and it spells HELLO. And there is a bush, right? This bush right here, right here by the door. This bush is there, and the bush covered up the O. And so every time I went by this house, the sign read, "Oh hell." And I absolutely love that. But I noticed that it's not there today, so I don't know what the situation is there. But here's on Fuson looking. I mean, this is wild. This is Buck Creek, obviously, and Buck Creek is coming. Buck Creek is this way to the east, and for Buck Creek to have overflowed, it's had to have come up the banks, into the field, into the yard, and got this far over. I mean, this is pretty wild water. Absolutely just crazy town. You can see how high the water is up on these cars. I mean, that's not good. Look at this water on this truck here. That's certainly not good. I mean, this is wild. Let's get out of here. Here's the cars that are stranded on Walnut, south of the roundabout on Walnut. This is just what get past the casket. What are the deal is with that casket? Here's Walnut, north of the roundabout. Oops. Here is a small engine warehouse. There's more pictures from Walnut. Here's Southway Plaza. Okay. We'll come back to these pictures. Okay, we're not gonna focus on these pictures too much right now. We'll come back to these pictures. This is going to be very important. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, this is some pretty crazy ass flooding at my house. Now, this was early yesterday, so the water got much higher. The water eventually ended up covering this bush. So you see where we are with this bush? The water ended up covering this bush. You see this grassy area right here, this grassy ring? That is a shelf along my lake. We have a lake, and the shelf got covered up. The lake is now the yard. This is a house that's designed for geese to stay in, and shortly after this video was taken, that house detached from the earth and started floating away. First it floated one way, then it floated the other way, and I think it's permanently gone at this point. This is okay. So here is there's a pier. So this boat is a paddle boat. Here is a regular fishing boat, and these two benches. These benches is the benches that I sat on when I was outside, and there's the table. The benches were all covered over. Our piers obviously covered over. All of this, the boat here that's attached to a pole, it eventually floated away and floated down Mud Creek. This weeping willow here, you can see the water eventually came up to the tree, past the tree, and it came to about here in the yard, and the water was up to where the tree makes the V. So the water was up here, which if I'm standing here, my head is about right here. So this is about my height. So the weeping willow branches, this was all underwater. Our pier, crazy what's going on here. Just nuts. Okay, we're going to take you out here into the field. Okay, this is very interesting here. So this is down by my shooting range. Okay, this is the shooting range. Okay, and these two targets. One target is this target here. Its target to the north is 8 foot tall, and this target is 10 foot tall. And the water easily was over that. By the time the water finally crested, the water crested about right here. The water crested here. Just absolutely crazy. And what's really scary about this is when I filmed this to send to Brandon and Kate yesterday. It was about an hour after this. An hour after this that the water was over it. It didn't take like all the rest of the night. It was the entire, it was like within an hour. The water's rising while this video is being filmed. And you can see how, it's moving like still quickly there. That's nothing like the rushing White River, but I wouldn't have wanted to be in that water, Here is State Road 3 shut down. This is the Selma Sink right here. And I know it's low. I've never seen anything like this. There's a high water sign. Just absolutely crazy. Okay, yeah, this is a good example here. Here is a picture of it, and you cannot see. Down here is where the shooting range is. It's covered. The boat is now over there. It's up here into the gardens. Wild. Absolutely wild. Now, this is the water still coming. You can see it's up in here. It gets higher from here. This was last night. There's the paddle boat. There's the goose house. There's the tree. It eventually gets covered over. And then 2 people got stuck. Here's a road down here, and I woke up this morning. Well, you'll see it here in a moment. Yeah, here we are. So here's where, at this point, the shooting range is completely covered over. Oh yeah, Chris, that would be interesting. That would be very interesting to see. Okay, here's some more pictures from. I said 32 East. Did I not say that? Maybe I didn't. I thought I said East. If I didn't say East, I apologize. Okay, so I think we're. Oh, okay. Now this is some interesting footage. This is White River. This was yesterday. By about 7 o'clock. This was about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. 2-3 hours later, I wouldn't have been able to drive on this roadway. So you can kind of see how fast the water's moving here. Obviously, here's showing some tomato damage, obviously. Here is White River over off of Broadway. Here's idiots going through 32 by the wire mill. Now the trucks were doing a pretty good job, but there were some cars that were not doing so well. Of course, you always have to have the obligatory car trapped under the Unity Bridge. And so that's I think that's the end of my pictures. So pretty wild shot with what was going on. Now I want to now tell you about some things that occurred today that go along with the City of Muncie, Delaware County, and beyond. So I was contacted about 4 o'clock this morning. Well, a little bit later than that, maybe 5 or 6. I was contacted by a source within the Muncie City Police Department. And this source had told me that per a standard procedure on the Muncie Police Department, that officers were made aware that they were dealing with a very serious situation beyond the flooding. And I was just, I was absolutely shocked by what I heard. And so I put this out as breaking news 12 hours ago. I released this at 9:30 this morning after doing some checking and double checking. And a major, I just put it, I'm going to read it as I put it out. A major problem has been reported with public safety communications for the Muncie City Police, Fire, and EMS. It is unknown at this time whether the Delaware County Sheriff's Office, County EMS, or anyone else is affected. The political spotlight has learned of a serious communications problem affecting the Muncie Police Department and other emergency services amid ongoing flooding in the city. Sources within the Muncie Police Department have informed the spotlight of communications between a Muncie Police Lieutenant Justin Peters and other rank and file MPD officers, indicating that officers are experiencing or were experiencing intermittent radio dispatch communication issues throughout much of the overnight shift and into the morning hours. At approximately 4 a.m., personnel were advised that the primary Motorola communications tower near 18th Street and Sampson Avenue had been found underwater. By roughly 4:45, officials were also advised that the paging tone system used for fire and EMS had already gone down with no estimated time for restoration. Local, now, and this is what I said. This is not my words. This is the words that the police department used. A local radio technician, Bruce Dunn, and I want to be very clear, Bruce Dunn is not the man that needs to be working on this. Okay, I want to put that out there. There are other people that have brought this forward, okay? And other people should be working on this, but the city and county have totally screwed this up, okay? So MPD said local radio technician Bruce Dunn was reportedly at the tower attempting to determine how to preserve or restore the system. The situation appears particularly serious because personnel were advised that there was no established secondary solution. This is the serious shit. Not that a flood occurred and the flood stopped something from happening. Okay. What's bad is that there's no secondary solution. There's no plan B. There's no contingency plan capable of fully replacing the affected tower. The political spotlight has further learned that AEP was expected to shut off power to the tower to protect any equipment that could still be salvaged. Such a shutdown was expected to cause an additional loss of radio capability, affecting the Muncie Police communications and dispatch operations. Again, I'm not sure if this affected the county, but I know that MPD was affected. Okay, and you're going to hear some serious things here in a minute. Okay. At the time this information was provided, officers had been given no clear repair timeline, no estimated restoration time, and no detailed explanation of the next steps. Because of communication problems, MPD has moved to responding to only primary one calls. That's a big deal, according to the information provided to the political spotlight. Dispatchers and supervisors also had to rely on alternative communications outside the normal police radio dispatch system to coordinate officer responses. Officers were dispatched to calls in greater numbers because of reliable radio communications could not be guaranteed. To put this in perspective, the primary radio tower for Muncie Public Safety Communications was underwater. Fire EMS paging capabilities were failing. Police radios had been operating only intermittently, kind of like our internet here. And it's more important they operate than we do, ironically. I shouldn't think that, but I will say it. Power to the affected tower was expected to be intentionally shut down to prevent further damage to the equipment. At the time of the briefing, there was no ETA for repairs and no fully operational backup system was available to replace the affected infrastructure. This is a developing situation, obviously. The political spotlight has been working to determine the current status of the communication system, including whether service has been restored or stabilized, and what contingency measures are in place. Given the ongoing flooding across Muncie, Delaware County, and East Central Indiana, and the forecast for additional rain over the next 24 to 48 hours, and the demand on police, fire, EMS personnel, and major communications, a major communications system failure could pose an extremely serious public safety challenge. The absence of a secondary situation, Plan B, for the city of Muncie is shocking. The political spotlight will provide additional information, as we are doing and will continue to do. Lastly, and this is very important, while this emergency going on, this is not the time. But once this emergency has passed, Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour and his administration, along with the Delaware County Commissioners, Sherry Riggins, Stephen Brand, and Shannon Henry, will need to answer fundamental questions. Specifically, one, why is there not an adequate Plan B, a fully functional contingency plan for a failure of critical public safety communications? Muncie and Delaware County are experiencing an extraordinary, perhaps once-in-a-generation flood. But that is exactly when and why a contingency plan is needed. We're talking about communications that police, fire, EMS, 911 dispatchers, emergency management, and citizens rely on when everything screws up. When the shit hits the fan, this is what's needed. If any system must have a built-in redundancy, it would be this system. What happens when the primary tower fails, as it has done? What happens when power is lost or the main radio system becomes unusable during a major emergency? What backup systems are immediately available? These are the questions emergency planning is supposed to answer before the emergency. The political spotlight sincerely hopes and prays this situation ends without anyone being seriously injured or worse, because emergency personnel could not communicate effectively. But once this emergency is under control, there must be a full accounting of what the hell happened here, why available redundancies were insufficient, and what will be done to make certain this cannot happen again. When lives depend on these systems, we didn't expect this to happen cannot be a final answer. Questions will have to be asked, answers will have to be given, and we will be here to ask them. Now, I did submit an email to the elected officials, and the Delaware County Commissioners provided a special meeting, an emergency meeting today. Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour put out a proclamation, but I have yet to receive any answers from any of these people, which is bad. I get Dan might be busy, and I understand Amber might be busy, but this is what her job would be. Maybe it's not so rare in years to come. That's a very good possibility. I will say this. You know, I want to demand answers and they need them. But folks, this is why I tell you, no one's coming to save you. We want them to have a contingency for the plan, and have a contingency for the contingency, and a contingency for the contingency. But it is left up to you to have your plan and to have your contingency and a contingency for the contingency. It's left up to you to have solar power batteries, food storage, ammunition, guns, and everyone's like, ooh, prepper, LARPer. All you need to have is a tornado. It's the Muslims aren't coming to get us. Well, maybe they are, but they didn't get us this time. This is an act of God. But how many acts of God have we had here recently in the last couple of years that's really turned East Central Indiana upside down? The tornadoes, the windstorms, the derechos, the cloud bursts, the flood, the 113-year, once-in-a-generation situation flood deal. We have to be prepared to be it, because these idiots aren't it. Dan Ridenour is not rowing up to your house to save you with Nate Sloan. Okay? They're idiots. Don't count on Jerry Dishman to save your life. These people can't wipe their own ass. They're not coming to save you in an emergency. All right? Just want to be clear about that. Okay? Now, let's take a look at some of these pictures, because when I get called a liar here in an open meeting in a minute, I'm gonna prove some things, okay? So this is the picture of the cars that were out at the tower at 18th and Sampson. These cars weren't out here for no reason. They're obviously out here fixing shit, or attempting to, or looking at it and standing there with their thumbs up their ass. One of those three things is going on. Okay, you got all kinds of county cars, city cars, municipal cars. Bruce Dunn's out here. And let me tell you right now, Bruce Dunn is not the man for this job. There have been a couple people that have been going to the city and that have been going to the county and talking, and the county commissioners let Bruce Dunn do this. Okay? People have been warning them about this for a long time, several years now. There have been a handful of people, and I don't know that I can mention names just yet, but in the next couple days, I will have some names to mention, or at least I will see if I can. I don't want to mention any names specifically yet, because I don't know that I have the okay to do that. Here's the dispatch center, okay? Here's the people working out at the tower. Here's the field that was flooded around the tower. Here's the tower itself, okay? Here are the cars. You can tell that's a municipal plate there. I want to let you know that, these people aren't, it's not just, people live back in the area. These are municipal plates. Okay, you see what's going on here. That's a state vehicle of some kind. And we see more people back over in here. There's the tower. There's a gaggle of people. Absolutely. That's 100%. That's the problem. That's the problem, Freedom Fighter. That's because when some other people went and told the commissioners, King and Henry, and I think Brand's even been in on it now, the commissioners have told these other people, don't worry about it. Bruce has got us covered. Bruce has got us covered. Well, I don't know that that's exactly the truth. Okay? Now, I want you to watch this meeting. We're gonna kick over here, and I'm gonna share this meeting so you guys can see this. This is very important. This was a special meeting of the Delaware County Commissioners today. And I want you guys to listen to what goes on here, okay?
Justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brand, here. Mr. Henry, here. Mr. Riggin.
Present. We come today for emergency declaration of 2026, Focal 5. Ms. Stupel, would you like to read it for us, please?
Right, Freedom.
This disaster emergency declaration states, whereas Delaware County has been impacted.
So the point of the meeting was for this disaster declaration. So this is a big deal. So we're going to listen to this.
By a series of storms starting on August 11th, 2026 and continuing through August 12th, 2026. And it is potentially expected to go through further than that, which has caused severe flooding and
Alva, that's a field. It's not a yard, it's a field. But my grandpa can't mow the grass yet either.
which has caused widespread damage across Delaware County. And whereas the commissioners of Delaware County, Indiana, believe that the weather conditions meet the definition of severe weather.
What in the hell is Ed doing? Did he just come from his shift at Applebee's? Does he have his bling on? What is he wearing? What is this shit on his lapel? He literally he's wearing his bling. He just came from Applebee's.
as set forth in Indiana Code 36.821.5
Danielle,
and a
hey,
disaster as
Struble,
set forth in Indiana Code.
you're not doing too good, girl. You don't have any bling on. Somebody got a case of the Mondays.
10-14-3-1. And whereas pursuant to Indiana Code 10-14-3-12, the governor of Indiana has declared a disaster emergency for 63 counties in Indiana, including Delaware County, and the impact of severe weather has caused major flooding, evacuations, damage to roadways, structures, loss of power, downing of trees and power lines, as well as closure of roads, and restricted travel on the county roads will be affected for many days after the weather, and such conditions would be hazardous for the citizens to operate on the roads. And whereas the Board of Commissioners shall declare a local disaster emergency. Now therefore, we, the Board of Commissioners of Delaware County, Indiana, hereby declare that pursuant to Indiana Code 10-14-3-29, that a local disaster emergency exists and makes a declaration as follows. A local weather emergency exists as a result of rain and wind that has occurred in the county over the last several days, and which has resulted in a disaster that that is effective immediately and will last at least 30 days. Delaware County is in need of state and federal assistance to supplement the local resources to respond to this disaster. The county shall activate the response and recovery aspects of all applicable county disaster emergency plans. Authorize the furnishing of aid and assistance under the plans and immediate aid to mitigate the disaster. And as a result of the disaster and damage that the county has experienced, the Board of Commissioners authorize the use of emergency funds and procedures to accomplish remediation work and suspend the bidding process to address the calamity. And witness whereof we have hereunto set our hand this 13th day of August 2026 with the signatures of the commissioners and attest by the county auditor.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Henry.
Yeah, so we've been working on this emergency management and a bunch of the agencies, all the emergency services in Delaware County as far as that goes. And Kyle's here right now. He's going to speak for Corey. Corey's busy right now at the Emergency Operations Center. So Kyle has some information to provide as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is an update from the Emergency Operations Center. Kyle Johnson, Chief Information Officer. First of all, one of the main things I want to get out to the public is quit driving through flooded roads. That's been the #1 problem that we've had over the last 2 days, is people driving into floodwaters, getting stuck, and then having to go be rescued or pulled out by our first responders.
Yeah, no
the
shit,
numbers
Shelby.
are outrageous. You see flooded waters, just stay out. It's created so much problems. Delaware County, we remain in a flood emergency response. The Emergency Operations Center was activated yesterday as flooding conditions worsened across the county, initially deploying to South Muncie to support evacuations and emergency response. We established an incident command structure and coordinated with many other agencies, local fire and police departments, and the Red Cross, DNR, volunteer organizations, and other responding partners. A countywide flood situational awareness map was established to track the affected areas, flooding impacts, road closures, and response activities. Other public information has been coordinated through Delaware County EMA, the county website, and our social media channels. So that's where we're pushing out all the updated information as we get it. In addition, due to the floodwaters, Delaware County Public Safety Radio Tower was impacted by floodwaters. Right now, the Public Safety 800 megahertz radio system is operational with some loss in capacity. Our backup systems are functional. Director Cummings is going to speak on that after I'm done. In terms of the public safety and evacuations, numerous low-lying areas experienced significant flooding, with some homes surrounded by floodwaters and requiring assistance from first responders. Fire department boats were strategically placed both in north-south ends of the affected areas to support the water rescues and evacuations of personnel. At the same time, a separate search operation is underway for a missing teenager in the Mississinawa River near the Iron Bridge on Gregory Road. It was suspended overnight and resumed this morning, and they're still out there right now. Currently, EMA, Emergency Operations Center, and the District 6 Healthcare Coalition is currently coordinating the evacuation of a nursing home here in Muncie to a nearby facility, and that's affecting approximately 40 people that are in that facility. Just right before the meeting, I was notified that Daleville is actively evacuating an apartment building as well. In terms of shelters, we have one long-term overnight shelter at Grace Baptist Church in Yorktown. Last count, there was 15 displaced residents that remain sheltered there this morning. Several other day shelters are available in Muncie, including the Hub, the New Norm, and Price Hall, with additional shelters potentially opening later today. Those have not been opened yet. Transportation resources, including a bus, were placed on standby to assist with evacuations and transportation to the shelters as required. In terms of sandbags and flood protection, we've had quite a bit of requests for sandbags. We have 2 sandbag stations that are always available, and that's at the county highway garage on East Jackson Street, as well as the county fairgrounds by the maintenance building. Those have all been stocked and checked to make sure that they have enough sand and sandbags. It's a fill your own stations, and you bring your own shovel. There is no one there to assist you.
Helpy yourselfy.
There are also just a public person offered off some space at 2303 South Elm Street, and there's a temporary sandbag station there as well.
A public person.
The flooding is continuing to affect
What's a
roads,
public
neighborhoods,
person?
and businesses throughout the county. There's been damage to some roadways. The extent of the damage is still being
I
assessed.
gotta get a haircut.
The county has continued to monitoring for additional flooded areas, road conditions, and critical infrastructure.
All right, Kyle, you're putting me to sleep. Let's go.
The Indiana Department of Natural Resources has been engaged in response. The DNR area coordinator was briefed this morning. A DNR strike team is staged and available as a shared resource for both county and city response operations.
All right.
The District 6 Healthcare Coalition has also been deployed resources to our region. You may continue to coordinate with state, regional, local, and volunteer partners as the situation develops. Our immediate priorities remain the life safety evacuations and rescues and sheltering displaced residents and protecting our critical facilities, monitoring flooded areas and roads, and maintaining situational awareness. We're continuing to monitor the weather and river conditions closely and are planning continued operations as that evolves. Right before the meeting, the White River is at 17.4 and is anticipate to crest at 18.8 sometime middle of this afternoon around 2 p.m. The Mississippi is currently receding. It has been since 1 a.m.
23. All right.
That will change depending on
Fred's going to be the big
tomorrow.
news.
There's concern about significant rainfall tomorrow. We will be.
He's talking about significant rainfall tomorrow.
Like I said, avoid the flooded roads, stay out of floodwaters. If your residence appears to be impacted by floodwaters, get out early. Don't wait until you can't get out. They might have questions.
Sarah Beach, stand by.
So
You're getting ready to hear some crazy shit.
There's a big pink area right at the top. It has links to reporting flood damage. If you don't know if you're in a flood hazard area or not, there's a real simple map. Put your address in, and it'll tell you if you're in or near a flood hazard area. All those links are available.
Okay.
In the event of a boil water advisory, customers will be notified using.
All right, here we go. We're getting into
First, I
Fred.
will also reiterate exactly what was just said. People are driving into floodwaters. We're taking multiple 911 calls for that. For the last 24 plus hours. Also, the other thing that I would tell people is if you are asked to voluntarily evacuate, please do so that it does not turn into an emergency. We have limited resources because of the volume of calls. So sending them to rescue people from houses when
yes,
it's
Karen,
virtually too late and you could have evacuated earlier, please evacuate now because everything is strained at the moment. As far as the radio system, contrary to what was.
All right, now I want you guys to listen to this. I like Ed or Fred or Jed or whatever his name is. All right, he's getting ready to call me a liar without calling me a liar. He's getting ready to say contrary to what was put out on social media. I want you to listen to this.
As far as the radio system, contrary to what was spread on social media earlier, the radio system is not dead. It is still functioning. We did lose the Samson Tower site.
Okay, so listen to what he says here. Contrary to what was spread on social media, the radio systems are not dead. That's what he just said. Okay. Then he immediately said, we did lose the Samson Tower. Now, that's only the main tower for the city and the county. But I want you guys to be very clear. I've sent out emails, but Fred has not answered me yet. Okay, why is he not? Well, I've not seen him post. Let me go to my post here and see if he's commented or he's not texted me, he's not called me. I've not received an email from him. I want to be very clear. He's a county employee talking to county officials. And what I spread on social media, if you will remember what I said on social media, what I said was, I am not sure how this news is affecting the county. I put it in the very main blurb. A major problem is being reported with public safety communications for the Muncie City Police, Fire, and EMS. It is unknown whether Delaware County Sheriff's Office county EMS or anyone else is affected. I'm specifically talking about Muncie police. While it would be horrible if the entire system was down and city, county, and small towns were messed up, if the county's working, that's good. But if the city police are only answering priority 1 calls and they are dispatching off of cell phones, that's a problem. And we'll get to the cell phones in a minute. But I just want to be clear. I sent an email to the mayor, to the city council, to the police chief, to the communications director. I sent emails to the county. Nobody has responded. But they do a meeting at 2:00 and they stand up and they say, contrary to what was put out on social media, the radios aren't dead, just our main tower's dead. Okay. So first of all, that's circular talk. Let's continue.
That is our primary tower site. However, we are on the Safety Indiana system. 800 megahertz is still operating.
Now he says we are on a safety system. So he's making it sound like there's a backup system, a plan B. My question is that just for the county? Is that for the city? I don't know. He's Mr. 911, but I'll tell you what the police are saying in a moment. So let's listen.
It is spotty. There are
it's spotty. It's spotty, just like I said in my press release. All right, let's go.
Coverage issues without the Samson Tower. Motorola is currently on site with our radio
let's go back. Let's go back. What do you say there?
It is spotty. There are some coverage issues without the Samson Tower.
There are coverage issues without the Samsung Tower. Yes, EMS, city police, city fire, city EMS, which of the agencies, the City of Muncie is the largest police agency. They deal with the more serious issues on a day-to-day, day-in, day-out basis. And if their radio system is down, dead, or flooded, it's a problem. Okay, let's continue.
Motorola is currently on site with our radio technician, as well as what used to be formerly known as IPSC, and they're trying to put a temporary solution into place. VHF is completely down.
They are trying to put a temporary solution in place. That means we don't have a temporary solution in place. They are trying to put a temporary solution in place. Again, that's like my breaking press that he says that was spread on social media. I said they don't currently have a temporary solution, a contingency plan. Then he follows that up by saying VHF is completely dead. That is what fire and EMS runs off of. My press release said fire and EMS toning and paging is down. That's very bad.
And we've always had a backup plan to that.
Right.
We have CAD paging.
We've always had a backup plan for that. Well, where is it? Why don't we have it now?
We have active 911. There are several different.
They have active 911. So you can text 9. Listen, this isn't an issue. I want to make clear. If you're having a heart attack, you can pick up the phone and call 911. If someone's coming to your house to rape you, you can call 911. If you're selling drugs and want to get arrested, you can call 911. You can call the non-emergency line and say, hey, my dumbass just drove into 25 feet of water. What am I doing? I'm floating away. I'm drowning. Come get me. You can call there, non-emergency, emergency, 911, text them, whatever, smoke signals. The issue is they can't then get that information to police, fire, or EMS. That's the problem. We can call all day long, but if they're not coming to get you, that's the issue. Here we go.
Notification systems that we use as redundant backups if the radios go down. So there is a problem with the radio system. It is being addressed. There is still communication going on. It will continue. We will suffer some coverage issues. They're working on those now. They're trying to get some stuff moved to our.
I like Fred, but this is a cover your ass response. He's being careful and he's not speaking. I don't think he's specifically lying, but he's obfuscating. He's not speaking clearly.
the tower site up north to try to alleviate that short term.
And that's true. That's true. And listen, I'll be honest. I'm okay with that to some degree, because that is important. Keeping them safe, keeping the public calm is important. I get it. I understand it. I can't help that the information got leaked to me. I can't help that.
Samson Tower will be down indefinitely. I did speak to
Okay, so here's the deal. It doesn't matter what agency it is; they all use the same trunking system. The city and the county share it, and yes, that is true. But just stand by for it. And so I don't know if that means. Let's. I got some information after this. Let's go from here.
Two of the commissioners. I'm sorry I didn't call you. We are currently investigating what options we're going to have moving forward. They're going to try to salvage some of the equipment out of that building today.
Listen, I mean, so far he's basically reading my press release word for word. Basically, I said all of this. I said every bit of this. They're trying to salvage equipment. They were shutting the tower down so they could do so. You know, there's some interest. And listen, I'm not mad at Fred. I like Fred. I just want to be clear. I know he's in a difficult spot here.
That is hopefully not destroyed, but we're not completely optimistic about that.
Listen, it's hopefully not destroyed. Listen, if something is destroyed, is it working? If something is destroyed, if you say, hey, my car is completely destroyed, does that mean you can get in it and drive it? Or does that mean your car's destroyed? He said, hopefully it's not destroyed. We are not completely optimistic about that.
Motorola is bringing in equipment.
Motorola is bringing in equipment. Why are they bringing in equipment? Is it because the equipment that's here is no longer working?
To backfill that. But there are going to be some long-term costs that are...
There's going to be some long-term cost to that. Listen to these long-term costs.
Exorbitantly high. So
exorbitantly high. We're not done. Listen.
What creek is that back there? Buck. Is it Buck?
Buck Creek.
Yeah, it's Buck. So we're going to have a long-term discussion later on about what we do, because ultimately that building is going to need to be replaced, as well as the majority of the equipment in there, and that will...
The building and the equipment at the radio at Sampson and 18th is going to need to be replaced. Let's listen.
As I explained earlier to Commissioner Henry, that's in the high six figures to seven figures of stuff. So
that's the high six figures to seven figures. Listen, I went to Delta High School. I'm not a mathematician. What's seven figures? Are we talking millions?
I don't know, but everything he's saying, I get that he's trying to keep the public calm, but everything he's saying leads to one conclusion. It's fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, it does not sound
it doesn't cost $1 million to do a tweak on something. It's fucked. Just
yeah. Seven figures is $1 million. Yeah. Yeah, Kate, Kate says it. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't feel very good about that.
I know that we're looking at the insurance aspect of that as well. So this is not something that we can go without for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I think the tower will remain in place, and the building should be elevated up on piers,
correct,
well above the flood plain in the same vicinity. But we need to get it up. Absolutely, yeah, on piers.
Why is the damn thing in the floodplain?
We want to assure the public the radio system is still working, contrary to what went out on social media today.
All right, he says it again. The radio system is still working, contrary to everything that went on social media, and contrary to everything that I just said. Contrary to everything that I just said, contrary to what went on social... Kristopher Bilbrey's a liar, okay? Well, let me tell you, what he's saying here is Justin Peters, lieutenant with the Muncie City Police Department, is a liar. And I'll explain to you why I say it. I don't know if he is or not. I'm just telling you what he's saying. Here we go.
Working in an optimal capacity.
I'll make a motion that we adopt this disaster emergency declaration 2026-005.
And before I second, I just want to make one observation. In item number 1, the last 5 words says will last at least 30 days. Is my understanding that we can't put something in this for more than 7 days without renewing it on a regular basis. And I think one way around that would be to replace those words where it says resulted in disaster that is effective immediately and recovery operations are expected to continue for an extended period of time. Just an observation. I believe that we're only allowed to put this in place for 7 days and we'd have to come back and do it again.
I can do that.
So I'll amend my motion with the new verbiage.
Yep. So I'll second the motion to replace the words will last at least 30 days with recovery operations are expected to continue for an extended period. I did second it.
Karen.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
Commissioner Brand. Yes. Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Love you all too.
Can't think of anything else, but keep your chargers charged.
Do we now that we've authorized this, do we have a like a disaster cost file that we've started? I know that there's.
So he wants to know how much this is going to cost. I mean, he just heard, 7 figures from
I think, correct me if
Fred.
I'm wrong, but I think Corey has talked to all the emergency services too and said, hey, start keeping track of.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then listen to this.
So in our office, keep track of time we spend on this.
I don't have time to go to sleep.
And I spoke to the mayor earlier, and he has his legal counsel also preparing a similar ordinance for the declaration.
City of Muncie's preparing a similar deal. Okay.
I don't know when they're going to do it, but
I think we kind of checked into this before. I think as long as we have one in place, it covers the county.
yeah, I made that comment, and out of an abundance of caution and inconsistent with the response to COVID, they did one separate from the county. They thought it can't hurt, so go ahead and do it. But absolutely, we should be in cooperation. I appreciate Yorktown being here. I spoke to Bill Walters and Dale earlier, and make sure we coordinate with everybody.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Yes,
Thank you.
appreciate all your extra work. Motion to recess.
All right, so they recess. So that's that. Okay. So I like Fred. I'm not mad at Fred. I'm not mad. I'm sure he's mad at me. I've made his life hard. I'm not trying to. I can't help it that it got brought to me. So I am not going to put this out yet because I'm still protecting sources. But with that being said, I'm going to read this verbatim here. So stand by 1 second. Okay. This is a Muncie Police Department end of shift report. Okay. And so for those of you that haven't been in law enforcement, don't know what that is. If you've been in the military, it's like an after action report. Okay. So it's essentially like it's not like an after action. It's like continuing in. So at the end of the shift, you're giving a report to the new oncoming shift of everything that went on crazy. You might say, hey, it was a peaceful night. No issue. We checked the businesses. Things were calm. Or you might say, hey, we had 3 armed robberies last night. We arrested 2 of them. Detectives are working it. We've got 1 outstanding. We've had a homicide. First shift, second shift yesterday said they had probable cause affidavit signed on Alva. We know Alva is a frequent flyer. We're dealing with him. If you see him, we've got probable cause. Pick him up. Yada yada yada. That's what an end of shift report is. So I'm going to read this to you. End of shift report. Subject: radio outage. These are not my words. These are not my words. These are the words of a Muncie police lieutenant called Justin Peters, unit number 14. Okay, I'm going to read this to you. Radios went in and out for the majority of the shift. At approximately 4 a.m., dispatch called to advise. So that means they picked up the phone to call somebody, the OIC, the officer in charge, that the main Motorola tower at 18th and Sampson, the tower I showed you pictures of, was discovered to be underwater. At approximately 4:45 a.m., they called to say the paging tones system for fire and EMS was already down with no ETA to fix it. Fred, I am absolutely sorry, brother. I don't have any ill will towards you. If you're saying that's not correct, take it up with Muncie Police Lieutenant Justin Peters, not me. He's telling his officers this, that the paging, and for all of you that say, well, wait, what's the paging tones? It's when you're listening to dispatch and you hear something go, it's these different tones that drop for firemen and EMS, and when you work at different stations and you're on different trucks, you're used to what your tone is. And when that tone drops, oh, that means me, or when people are asleep or doing things, because firemen have to sleep on duty, unlike police officers. All love, no, just giving you shit, man. It's not a big deal. Relax, everybody. Some of that stuff don't ever go away. Okay. Going on. Listen, the paging tone system for fire EMS was already down with no ETA to fix it. They said the local radio repair contact, Bruce Dunn, who should not be in charge of it, who should not be involved in it, is a problem. This is a problem, okay? Bruce Dunn was out at the tower trying to come up with solutions for this issue. However, they said there is no plan B. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this. Okay? Why so technical? Maybe the county can get a loan from the Catinos. All right. Sarah, I'm just busting balls. I'm not being serious. I love firemen. All right, listen to this. However, they said there is no plan B. Again, Fred, not my words. The political spotlight didn't say this. The Muncie Police Department said this. And he's saying your dispatcher said this. If you got a problem with this, it came from your dispatch. There will be a moment, and right now is not the time, but I'm letting you know. So you see, I'm reading from an actual document, okay? I'm not putting this out on social media yet. You want to go back and screenshot that? You want to go back and pause it and take a screenshot? Be my guest. Eventually, this will go out. I'm just doing this right now because I'm essentially being called a liar on a live meeting, okay? Now, they didn't name me, and maybe they're talking about some other jackass. I feel like it's probably not the case, okay? Let's continue on. However, they said there is no plan B, and when that tower goes down, not even dispatch will be able to communicate with us via police radios. Listen, they said, who's they? Dispatch. Dispatch said the local radio repair contact, Bruce Dunn, was out at the tower trying to come up with a solution. However, they said, who's they? Dispatch. However, dispatch said there was no plan B. And when that tower goes down, not even dispatch will be able to communicate with us, the police, via police radios. Okay, so they're saying when it goes down. So, man, maybe it's not down yet. Listen to this. They further advised, who's they? Dispatch. Dispatch further advised they, dispatch, are intentionally going to have AEP shut all the power off to the tower soon. When you shut all the power off to the tower, it's essentially dead. Okay? You might be able to turn the power back on, but if you've shut the power down, it's not getting power. So they've said when the tower goes down, not even dispatch will be able to communicate with us via police radio. They further advise they are intentionally going to have AEP shut the power down to the tower soon, which will disable all MPD radios and dispatch. Fred, I didn't say it, brother. So again, I'm not mad at Fred. And I want to be perfectly honest about this. I really had a lot of thoughts about doing this. I made my post, and I kind of thought, oh, should I have done that? And I really wrestled with if I was going to talk about this tonight, because listen, I want to be clear. I'm not trying to make their job harder. I'm not trying to make the police department's job harder. I'm not trying to make the fire department's job harder. And that's what there are going to be people saying, oh, it's just Bilbrey, he's just fucking around. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to do that. What I want is our elected officials to stop dicking around with nonsense, and I want them to give these people what they need. I want them to have plan Bs. I don't want police officers going to calls when they can't talk to dispatch or ask for backup. Because I'm going to tell you something. God forbid an officer goes to a call and needs help and can't get help, and some shit hits the fan and somebody is hurt or worse yet, some serious shit's going to hit the fan. But Muncie owes these people more than what's currently happening, and it's a problem. This is a problem, okay? So going on here, there's no explanation for what the next steps are or what kind of ETA there is for repair. As of now, we're only responding to priority 1 calls, and radios calling for supervisors. Radios calling a supervisor's cell phone. This is where it's big. And the supervisors are dispatching officers from there. They've been sending duplicate officers, multiple officers out because of safety issues. So they're needing to stay safe. My thoughts and my prayers are with these people. I'm not mad, and listen, they can't be mad at Justin Peters. They can't be mad at anybody. This is multiple whistleblowers trying to get information out because they are not wanting to be pissed on by the city of Muncie. And that's what's happening here. So today I sent out, after the post, I sent out my emails that are as follows. Mayor Ridenhour's Communications Director Green, Chief Sloan went out to the county. I've also sent this to the 9 city councilors to keep them in the loop. Does the city have a statement regarding the serious public safety communications problem affecting the Muncie Police, Fire, EMS, and dispatch operations during the current flooding emergency? I have received information from a couple of sources within the Muncie Police Department indicating that the primary communications tower near 18th and Sampson Avenue was found underwater, which has affected city fire EMS paging capabilities, and that MPD has experienced intermittent radio communications. We are being told that email went out to officers telling them that a primary system has failed or is failing, and there is no plan B secondary system. Given the critical nature of this communication system, I'm asking you to address the following. What contingency or backup plan was in place for a failure of the primary public safety communication system? If a contingency plan existed, why was it apparently unable to provide full communication capability during this emergency? Were you or members of your administration previously aware that a primary system could be vulnerable to flooding, power loss, or another catastrophic failure? What backup equipment, towers, mobile systems, alternative dispatch capabilities, backup power, or interoperability agreements are currently available to Muncie Police, Fire, EMS, and Dispatch? What is the current status of the communication system as it stands now? And have normal operations been restored? If not, when is that expected? In the future, what steps will the administration take to ensure that Muncie has a reliable plan B and, when necessary, additional layers of redundancy if the primary communication system fails again? I recognize that flooding affecting Muncie and Delaware County is an extraordinary event. However, emergency contingency plans exist specifically for circumstances in which normal infrastructure fails. When police officers, firefighters, paramedics, dispatchers, emergency management personnel, and the public depend on this system, we didn't expect this to happen cannot be the final answer. I would appreciate a statement addressing both of what occurred and what your administration intends to do moving forward. Thank you in advance for your time. Now, I've heard what Fred had to say, but so far I have received nothing else from anyone else. And I think that is a problem. I think that's a problem. That's not something that we should be okay with. And okay, maybe they didn't answer it today. We'll wait and see what they answer tomorrow. I'm going to email tomorrow and say, I didn't get an answer from you today. What's going on? Okay. Amber did send out a press release today, and it's a 4-page proclamation. And I want to show this to you and read this to you here and let you guys see this. Okay. So this is, I guess, the same type of situation that the county put out. I think it would have been probably good to have the city council come in and be involved, but I mean, screw it. The city of Muncie runs off just the mayor anyways, so who cares, Proclamation of Local Disaster Emergency City of Muncie. Whereas the City of Muncie, Indiana is a second-class city organized under the laws of the state of Indiana. Whereas beginning on or about the morning of August 11th, 2026 and continuing through the 12th, the City of Muncie and surrounding areas received extremely heavy rainfalls in excess of the city's drainage capacity. Flooding has resulted in inundation of public streets, displacement of residents, damage to public and private property, and threats to public health and safety. The severity and scope of the flooding has exceeded the city's normal operational capacity and requires activation of emergency response and recovery resources. Whereas Code 10.14.3.29a authorizes the principal executive officer of a political subdivision to declare a local disaster emergency, and whereas the Muncie Code of Ordinances 130.13 provides that when in judgment of the mayor a civil emergency exists, the mayor shall proclaim in writing the existence of a civil emergency, which shall empower the mayor to issue necessary orders to protect public safety and welfare. The declaration of a local disaster emergency will activate the response and the recovery aspects of all applicable local and interjurisdictional disaster emergency plans and authorize the furnishing of aid and assistance under those plans. It is necessary to protect the public peace, health, safety, and to preserve the lives and of the property of the people of Muncie. Now, therefore, I, Dan Ridenauer, Mayor of the City of Muncie, acting as the principal executive officer of the city, do hereby proclaim and declare the existence of local disaster emergency within the City of Muncie, effective immediately as follows. Declaration of disaster emergency. I hereby declare that the local disaster emergency exists within the City of Muncie as a result of the extreme heavy rainfall flooding. This declaration shall activate all applicable response recovery provisions, city, departments, officers, employees, proclamation of civil emergency, further proclaim that the emergency exists, powers and authority. During this power, declared local disaster, the mayor shall have the authority to invoke emergency provisions, establish of restricted areas where access to limited to official personnel, residents, individuals with written permission, regulation or prohibition of activities that threaten public health and safety within affected areas, coordination with county, state, and federal emergency management agencies, mobilization of city personnel, equipment, resources for emergency response and recovery operations, authorization of emergency expenditures and execution for emergency contacts as permitted by law. Number 5 is interesting. Implementation of such other measures that are necessary to protect life, property, and the public welfare. Cooperation and compliance. All residents, businesses, organizations within the City of Muncie are directed to cooperate with public officials and disaster services force the executing emergency operations, obey and comply the laws, refrain from activities that endanger themselves or others, follow all emergency instructions disseminated through city communications. Effective date and expiration. This proclamation of local disaster emergency shall be effective immediately and shall expire 7 days from the effective date and time of this proclamation unless extended or terminated pursuant to Indiana law. dated the 13th day of August at 1:45 p.m. And it was signed off on him. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I got rid of all the whereas. Okay, but that's not it. We also receive the following information from Amber, and this is from the City of Muncie and the Muncie Sanitary District official letter dated today, the 8/12 flood infrastructure. To our citizens and customers, as the City Sanitary District continues to work through the emergency phase of the current rain flood event, your Public Works and MSD team would like to assure that we are doing everything we can to protect the community, our environment, and our infrastructure from the effects of this historic rain event that is occurring in our city. For the sake of context, the City of Muncie occupies a land area of approximately 27.39 square miles in the past 24 hours. The most conservative estimate of rain has approximately 8 inches, which is well in excess of the 100-year storm or 1% annual exceedance storm. The last event of this magnitude occurred in 1913, which participated in the construction of the levee system that the Muncie Sanitary District maintains. In a period of 24 hours, approximately 4 billion gallons of rain fell. That's crazy. In a period of 24 hours, approximately 4 billion gallons of rain fell on Muncie proper, which is being conveyed by drainage systems, the river, ditches, streams, storm drains, etc., which are designed to function well at approximately 1/2 billion gallons and adequately at about twice that. Woo! Our infrastructure has experienced failures in line with what would be expected from any system that has exceeded its capacity. Neighborhoods located in the floodplain have experienced flooding. Neighborhoods that normally experience some stormwater problems have backed up since the system is full, causing localized flooding. Our sewer lift station at Manville is currently inoperable and flooded. The water pollution control plant is running at our maximum capacity of 38 million gallons per day, and our MSD engineering team is actively cleaning drains, pumping down water, and repairing critical assets. Our Public Works group is actively clearing down trees and will soon start emergency pothole repairs as the extent of the damage is revealed. As we assess the damage in the wake of the event, our team will be busy, but it's with our work order and reporting system, we will capture the feedback necessary to facilitate effective repair. We understand the anger, despair, and fear that comes from living through any display of nature's mastery. We will continue to provide the best service possible given the conditions, and we will be offering additional services in response to this crisis, which will include additional large item trash pickup and neighborhood roll-offs for cleanup effort. We appreciate the understanding and patience of the community as we join together to recover. We are in communication with our local utility companies, and they are working to protect everyone and restore service as quickly as possible. Indiana American Water is working diligently to continue providing water services despite high river water levels. Indiana Michigan Power continues to restore power when safe to do so, and will coordinate with Muncie Fire Department, the building commissioner's office. They missed so many places to ensure public safety is addressed in those restoration efforts. As we transition to the recovery phase, the burden of work moves from first response, which has been so ably managed by Muncie Fire Department, Muncie Police Department, Emergency Management, and our MSD Public Works employees, to our infrastructure team. MSD's long-term control plan work will add additional capacity to our combined sewer system, install new storm sewers in the neighborhoods, and our engineering team's continued efforts at high quality maintenance and cleaning has opened up capacity that certainly helped mitigating some of the worst possible outcomes of the storm. And this was signed off on by Dan and by Adam Leach. Sarah says, I think the problem is the city's not coordinating evacuation of neighborhoods that are at risk. BSU Stadium should have been opened with cots until this is over. That would be something that would make sense. I know that there are some places they said Price Hall During the Delaware County meeting, the first guy said a couple different places. Listen, I want to be clear. I hope that all of this is fixed as soon as possible. I have no hard feelings towards Fred or anybody else. I just want all of us to be safe, including the men and women of the Muncie City Police Department, the Delaware County Sheriff's Department, the Muncie City Fire Department, Delaware County EMS, Muncie City EMS, and everybody else in between. I want the 911 dispatchers to have what they need, and I want all of this to happen. I keep getting calls from people saying and messages saying, asking, has the city designed a place for people to go if they've been displaced by the historic water disaster? And the answer is, the gentleman said at the beginning, there are a couple of places. I imagine if you contact the city, I will reach out to the city tomorrow and find out, and I will post that. I will see if I can do the best that I can do to get that information. I will post it on my social media, and I will get that information out there. Now, before we leave, I want to take a look at a couple of other things that I think are very, very important. There are a couple of things that other people have done. I also want to show you guys a video from what was this? WTHR. Muncie Mayor Dan Ridenour was on WTHR. I'm assuming he's going to talk about the communications issue along with this. Let's
We're getting answers for what's next for families evacuated due to that flash flooding in Delaware County.
Muncie Fire Department's battalion chief told 13
You're right,
News
Sarah.
at least 500 to 1,000 people hadn't been impacted and were there as we saw city leaders and rescue crews helping get people to safety on the south side of Muncie.
And this morning, our Marina Silva is live with Muncie's Mayor Dan Ridenour, learning more about what's next and what today will bring for the city.
Good morning. Yes, we are here with Mayor Ridenour, and he's giving us an update kind of on how this was overnight. So what did we see overnight?
Well, we did see some areas where the water has receded and is starting to make a difference. But there's still many areas where it's just it's just devastating to some families. And but you know, the citizens of Muncie are resilient, and we've been through tough things, and this we'll get through this as well. I'm so thankful for the collaboration that we've had with Delaware County, with the emergency management, sheriff's office, but also our fire department has been incredible.
He's gonna cry.
Muncie Sanitary District has done a lot of help. The police department, they're all on call. They're out running. I was trying to talk to one of them here earlier, and they had to take off on another run. So it's super busy. We're just hoping that the levee holds through the White River, and we think it will. And you know, but it's tough for a lot of people, and that's sad.
Very sad. And, you know, we've been to so many of these different areas. We're seeing some areas have no power. We've seen some of the water receding, but really not all of it. What is today going to look like? What's the main mission for today?
Well, we want no rain, but I know there's more coming, and it's going to continue for several more days.
There.
So we're going to have to buckle down and figure out how to get through this and be there to help people. We've had a lot of agencies helping. We've got people who are staying at other agencies rather than in their homes. And it's a difficult situation. We'll take all the prayers and thoughts that people have. But again, Muncie, the citizens are resilient. We'll get through this. We'll get through this.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. So yes, he said that they are watching, they're seeing what's going to happen today. But his main message is that the citizens of Muncie are resilient and they are going to get through this. We'll send it back to you guys in studio.
Yeah, he's supposed to be keeping people calm. I think he's saying, we think about the levee holding. Yeah, I just tell you, that's what I started off. If it keeps on raining, levee's going to break. I don't know what else to say. He didn't say anything about the communications. He didn't say anything about the City of Muncie Police Department. You know, you think he should have? Is that the appropriate time to do it? Not the appropriate time to do it? Yeah. He hemmed and he hawed, and he did not say anything. That's exactly right. I am just reading this updated thing from the safety factors result. Safety factors result in suspension of the river search for the missing guy. Search for a young man who jumped into the rain-swollen Mississinawa River on the evening of Wednesday, August 12th, was suspended about 2 p.m. Thursday. Man, Chief Deputy Jeff Stanley of the Delaware County Sheriff's Department said the search for the missing person, believed to be local resident in his late teens, was suspended due to rising water levels and increasingly dangerous conditions. Stanley said 4 people, including the now missing youth, jumped into the river from the Iron Bridge along Gregory Road northwest of Albany on Wednesday evening. Emergency responders were called to the scene shortly after 8:30 p.m. 3 of those who entered the river were fairly quickly found and removed from the water. The 4th person, however, was not found. Searchers, including sheriff's deputies, Eaton, Albany Police, and area firefighters and personnel from the Indiana Department of Natural Resources, searched the area until about 12:30 a.m. when they stopped their efforts until 8 a.m. Thursday. The search has included the use of drones, boats, search parties, walking along the riverbank, and on Thursday, the Indiana State Police helicopter. On Thursday afternoon, the chief deputy said water levels continued to rise, and the combination of swift current and significant debris had created conditions that are unsafe for boats or personnel to enter the water. The safety of our first responders and volunteers must remain a priority, Stanley said. We will resume operations as soon as the water levels recede and conditions allow us to do so safely. Our thoughts and prayers remain with the family during this incredibly difficult time. We will not give up, he added. We will continue the search as soon as conditions allow, and we will remain committed until his family has answers they deserve. That's horrible. That's just horrible. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you want to continue giving, keeping the dream alive, but you've got to be realistic about that too, and that's just that really sucks. I'm gonna end off on this look at drone footage of the flood. Holy crap. Wow. So these are obviously 2 bodies of water. Here's the tower right over in here. The tower, if they pull back far enough, nope. Okay, here's White River coming up by City Hall. I mean, this is crazy high. See where we are here. Explain what the levee is. Is the berm around the river or the concrete structure? So, let me... Okay. Let me see if I can pull this up here. So the like the Muncie South levee is the concrete structure there that goes along Wheeling. There's also levee out at Prairie Creek, and I don't exactly know where, I don't know exactly which one they are talking about being bad. I don't know which one they're talking about the issue. So I'll have to look that up. I honestly don't know because I just heard that as I sat down to do the show tonight. I do want to show this. This was Muncie from the 1913 flood. There are a couple pictures here from the 1913 flood. I'll be honest, this actually looks worse than what we're dealing with, but they keep saying it's not. So, I guess I'll take their word for it. That's what I'm asking about. They're concerned the levee may be breached. So, yeah, Sarah, I mean, that's a really good question. I'm going to have to ask them which specifically one they're talking about. I don't know. What I do know is that when I came in, they were talking about the drinking water, and they were talking about they said that what I heard them say was that the levee, some flood water had gotten into the levee, but it was not affecting our drinking water. And so I have to assume that they're talking either about out there on White River, out past Tilliton, or they're talking about something to do with Prairie Creek. I'm just assuming that. I don't know. Here, I want to show you this. Look at this. This is a pretty interesting look. Here is Wheeling. Wheeling Ave, High Street. Who's are you sending me something, or what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing by that. I see you're pointing. Okay, let me see here. Someone said at least they are finally getting clean water in a Tui pool. Yeah. That's really scary, Sarah. I mean, if it rains at all, that'll be a problem. This is Wheeling Ave Bridge. This is the High Street Bridge from 1913. That's March 25th, 1913. That's absolutely wild. Okay, so reading here, it says Muncie, Delaware County, Indiana system operation maintains Norfolk Southern Railroad, City of Muncie floodplain management oversight organization. Average levee height, levee length 2.162 miles. Muncie South levee system. The levee is the wall basically around the White River. So from if you come over here, put your cursor over to the far left of the line no on the line. Okay, no. Drop it down to like the purple line, the very far side of the purple line. All right, go over. Up. No, you're going the right way the first time. No. Over. Stop. Go up. Down. A little bit more, just a few inches, right down there where the blue line and the purple line match, Kate. Right there. So that part where she's got her cursor, that right there is High Street, Weiser, and Wheeling. And so the levee, that's where you're driving along Wheeling, and we're all looking over to the right, to the east, and seeing Central. And so that levee, now follow that dark purple line around going up north, if you can, with your cursor. That levee is all of that purple line around there. And if you've looked at any of those pictures or you've driven any of those pictures, now where she ended there is basically out at Jackson, where Bunch Boulevard comes out. And so if at any point the water spills over that levee, breaches that levee, or rises past the levee, that's a serious issue, because areas there in that floodplain will flood, and it'll be really bad. And I'm assuming that the line that's in the blue there, that's got the little squiggly, that's the floodplain, basically. So all of that area there is susceptible to being flooded if that levee is breached. But on top of that, it not only is it a problem for flooding, but it also pertains with our drinking water, and that's not good. Yeah. That's right. That's right, Sarah. That's where. So to show you, yeah, that's really good there, Kate.
If anybody wants to look at this, this is from the national. I don't know. It's a government page. So
what do you type in? Just Muncie South Levee System?
No, I just typed in Muncie Levee.
Muncie Levee. Okay.
And found that.
I
So
imagine
I
if you
did put the
type
link
in
in the comments.
Okay. Well, that's good. So she's put the link in the comments, but if you check that out, that's pretty good. I'll show you here too in kind of in a real looking, so people can get more of an understanding. Let me show you here. It might be easier to see this way. So here's a map of the city of Muncie, and we're going to come in. Okay, so basically right here, here's where we are. So essentially, it's the cement thing that if you always look, there's like a little ditch or culvert right around here that right here it is, that the Central kids always draw on, and they always spray paint right here. It's this thing going in here along Wheeling. Okay, man, that is a really nice field that they've got there. Damn, that looks like a professional field. That is really nice. I had not seen that. That is really nice. Interesting. So all of this is the issue here. And this is where Sarah was talking about, when they do the fireworks, here's the field. Now, you can't really see it because this is not a topographical map. This looks just like it's a straight field, but it's not. This part up here is high, and this is a field that goes low. It comes down pretty steep. People to know. Oh, yeah, it would be a very major tragedy for the people in the Live, Learn, McKinley neighborhood. Yeah, it would wipe all of this out. That would be very horrible. So this is the whole area through here. And then here's the Francis Lafferty Field. This is what earlier in that picture was just completely covered over. And then here comes White River. Here's Broadway or Martin Luther King Boulevard. Here's Bunch Boulevard. And here's this waterway. And then, of course, coming over here. And I brought you these pictures. I brought pictures over here for you guys to see video earlier. And so this is all protected here. It's crazy because who remembers when the road used to go out this way and come right here? And this thing didn't do this. Remember that? So crazy. Anyhow, like just all of a sudden one day that was there. It was so nuts. So yeah, we don't want that to happen. I'm hoping, I'm praying that the water started going down and that the water that comes tonight, tomorrow won't be enough to do that. But, you know, of course, I wasn't planning on what happened yesterday to happen. So, yeah, it sucks. So that's that. We are, of course, going to ask these tough questions to the city, and we're going to keep them going. We're going to keep asking, and we will let you know what they say, if they say something different, when they say something different. Hopefully they do. I don't want them to just leave us hanging. That will be really bad. It'll be very telling. Again, I want to say I'm not mad or upset at Fred. I'm sure he's mad and upset at me. I didn't lie. So we put out the information we have from sources. And if he's got an issue, he needs to take it up with his dispatch supervisors and Lieutenant Justin Peters of the Muncie Police Department. Because I believe his supervisors and I believe Justin Peters. It is what it is. Okay, you guys stay safe. Don't drive into oncoming water. Remember to say a prayer for that young man and his family and friends. And we will see you back here. Oh, no, we won't. Listen, it's Thursday night. So that means no show tomorrow, Friday, unless something really crazy happens. If obviously we have more flooding, we'll break in, we'll do something. No show Friday, Saturday. We'll be back here Sunday with episode 717. I'm going to be doing recovery efforts over the next couple of days, and we'll just keep you guys posted. I'll be digging into stuff. Obviously, if you want to know what's going on, check out social media. Look us up on Facebook. Look us up on Twitter. You can find it all there. And hey, just an FYI to let you guys know briefly, if any of you guys out there get a friend request from my dog, you might consider accepting. Scopotica Bilbrey has a Facebook page. Lives in Indiana, from Muncie, October 20th, single. I live for my work. Mud Creek Studios, Political Spotlight. Her hobbies include chasing Monkey Wrench, the cat, and her 6 brats. Sleeping with my eyes open and snoring loudly. Rolling in dead animals and goose poop. Laying with Dad. I'm bored. I want Dad to get done with his research and rub my ears. Here's a good picture of her with the flooding back behind. And she's picking up, she's chief security at Mud Creek Studio, the home of the Political Spotlight. So, yeah. Check her out and send her a friend request or accept her friend request. And imagine you guys will have lots to talk about. All right, you guys have a good evening. Be safe. Take care. Don't go into water, specifically if you see it moving. If you don't see it moving, it means it's stagnant. Don't go into it. People forget all the time. I was watching a video of these kids playing on the corner, and they were wanting cars to go by and splash them. And I'm like, dude, there's a lot of chemicals in that, like gas and oil and roadway grime and just shit that's mixed into that. And that's so crazy to me. So don't be doing any of that craziness. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you back here Sunday. Take care. Good night. Goodbye. Peace.